Hey guys, Mr. A here. Hope you guys are having a good week. Like you guys know, we're working on Unit 3 this week. So let's go ahead and get started. Unit 3, we're dealing with linear equations. So let's get started on question number 1. Question number 1 says, child pay rate for babysitting is y equals 9x. Okay, so y equals 9x, that is y equals mx, which is our slope equation. And we know that, so that 9 means that 9 is our slope. Okay, this question right here is dealing with proportional relationship, which is dealing with unit rate. So from the vocabularies we did on Monday, we know that unit rate and slope is the same thing. Okay, so if I ask you what is the unit rate in this equation, you tell me it's 9. Okay, where x is the number of hours he babysits and y is the number of dollars he earns. Horatio pay rate is shown in the graph below. So the way you find a unit rate in a graph is by obviously finding the slope. In an equation is by finding the slope. So in a graph, you can find your unit rate by finding the slope also. So for me to find the slope of this graph, I can use these two coordinates and find the slope that way. Another way you can do it, especially with unit rate, is whatever y is when x is 1, is your unit rate. So when x is 1 here, the problem here is we can't tell exactly what this y is. Okay? So the third way you can do it is by using y over x. So you can choose any point on this graph and put the y value over the x value, and whatever that is going to give you your unit rate. So I use this point right here. This is my x value, this is my y value. So 30 divided by 4 is 750. Okay? So our unit rate from this graph is 750, which determines how much Horatio gets paid an hour. So we found out that Horatio gets paid $7.50 an hour and Chad gets paid $9 an hour. So we're going to use that two information to answer the questions below. A said Chad makes $1 more per hour than Horatio. If Chad makes 9 and Horatio makes $7.50, that is not exactly $1. That's $1.50, which brings us to the answer, question B. Chad makes $1.50 more per hour. Okay, so for number 1, it's on lesson 11, proportional relationships. We know that the answer is B. Okay. Question 2 says, which equation forms a pair of linear equations with 9x plus 12y equals 48, such that the system has no solution? Okay. Now, there are 3 types of solution. I don't know if you guys remember this. We have one solution, no solution, infinite many solutions. Okay? One solution, no solution, infinite many solution. And this is what needs to require for them to be one solution, no solution, infinite many solution. So with one solution, you can have different, which means different slope, different y-intercept, or you can have different slope, same y-intercept. Okay? For no solution, you have to have same slope and different y-intercept, and for infinite many solution, you have to have same. Okay, this seems like a lot to cover, but if you can just remember what no solution is, you'll be good to go. If you can remember that no solution has the same slope but different y-intercept, then you can tell what infinite many solution is. So if it's not a no solution and if it's not infinite many solution, then you know that it has to be one solution. All right, so we need to remember that no solution has same slope and different y-intercepts. Same slope, different y-intercepts. So using that information, let's try to solve this question right here. Now, when they gave us the equation 9x plus 12y equals 48. Before we can do anything, we have to put this equation into slope-intercept form so we can know what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Okay. So when you're doing slope-intercept form, we know that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, okay, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So for me to get this into slope-intercept form, I need to get this y alone on the left side of my equation. So I need to move this 12 and this 9x. I'm going to start with this 9x. It's a positive 9x, so for me to move it, I'm going to subtract by 9x, which is going to give me 12y equals negative 9x plus 48. Okay? And then the last thing I'm going to do is divide by 12, because this is 12 times y. So for me to get rid of it, I need to divide by 12. Okay, so I'm going to get y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 4. So I simplify this by dividing both of the numbers by 3, and that's how I got negative 3 over 4. Okay, so my slope is 3 over 4, negative 3 over 4, and my y-intercept is 4. Okay, so we're looking for no solution, so we're looking for one of this equation have to have a slope that has negative 3 over 4, and the y-intercept cannot be 4. Because for no solution, we have same slope, different y-intercept. Okay? So I know the answer is C, so let me show you why it's C. So we have 3x plus 4y equals 12. So we're doing the same thing. We have to turn this into the y equals mx plus b, which means we're trying to get y alone, so we have to get rid of this 4 and this 3x. Okay, let me start with this 3x. It's a positive 3x, so I'm subtracting by negative 3x. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So that cancels out, and I have left on the left side 4y equals minus 3x plus 12. And then I'm going to divide by 4. So I'm going to get y equals negative 3 over 4x. 12 divided by 3, 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my slope here is negative 3 over 4, and my y-intercept is 3. You see how we have the same slope, but different y-intercept? That's how we can tell that this equation has no solution, okay? Which is what makes number 2C. All right? Moving on to number 3. So number 3 is just talking about similar triangles. I don't think we talked about it too much, but there's not really too much to get into. So when you can tell just by looking at both of these triangles that they're similar, which means you have the slopes are the same, but their sizes are different, okay? So number 3 says in the graph below, the slopes of AC, so they're talking about this right here, and CE, this right here, are the same. What conclusion can be made about triangle ABC and triangle CDE? And that's why we said C, they are similar. That brings us to number 4. So we're still dealing with solutions of linear equation. Lynn solves a system of linear equation and got 8 equal 8. Select 2 statements about this system that are true. Okay? So if they give us 2 equations and when we solve them, we got 8 equal 8. Let's come back here. Remember, there's 3 types of solution: one solution, no solution, infinite many solution. All right. So for 8 to equal 8, that means both of the equations are the same, which means we have an infinite many solution equation. See how 2x minus 3 is the same, 2x minus 3 is the same? So they're telling us that 8 equals 8. So we know that this has infinite many solution. All right. So that's why the answer here is E. And C says the graph of the 2 equations coincide. So let me show you how the graphs looks when you have a systems of equation. Okay, remember there's one solution, no solution, infinite many solution. When you have a no solution, this is a no solution. Remember we said no solution was same slope, different y-intercept. We know that the y-intercept here is 0. So 0 and negative 2 are different. Whenever you have a no solution, you're going to get 2 parallel lines that do not intersect at all. These 2 lines are never going to touch. That shows a no solution. Okay, let's come here. Here we have 2 lines that do intersect. That shows that we have one solution, and that solution is where they intersect at, which is 0, 3. Okay? So when you have one solution, you're going to get 2 lines that intersect. So whenever you see 2 lines intersecting like this, you know that that's a one solution. And the last one we have infinite many solution. You see how we only have one line here? The reason we only have one line here is because both of the equations are the same. So that means we only have one line. So if we grab both of them, they're going to be on top of each other. Okay? So that's what we have here for question number 4. You have 8 equal 8, which means both of them are the same. And so the graph of the 2 equations coincide, which means they're going to be the same. They're going to be on top of each other. Okay? So we have 3 different types of solution. We have one solution, no solution, infinite many solution. And for no solution, we have the graph looks like two lines that are parallel. For one solution, the two lines intersect, and where they intersect, that is your solution. And for infinite many solution, you're only going to have one line because both of the equations are the same. All right, question number 5 deals with solving equations like this. I'm not going to do this one. I did it. The answer is -5, but I'm not even going to do it because I don't think I could explain it without confusing you guys. Okay, so you can go ahead and skip number 5. And number 6 says, study the graph below. Based on what you see, write an equation for the line. So right off the bat, we know that this equation, this system of equation is one solution type of equation because we have two lines that intersect. And we know that the solution is where they intersect, which is right here. And right there is -3, 1. So part B says, what is the solution to the system of linear equation? We're going to say -3, 1. All right. Now, let's go back to part A. Study the graph below. Based on what you see, write an equation for each line. So an equation of a line has to be in the form of y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept, okay? And the easiest way to do this is, we know that the y-intercept is where our line intersects with the y-axis. So if I'm using this line, where it intersects with the y-axis is here. So that would be -8. And now I'm just looking for my slope, okay? So when I'm dealing with slope, I can pick two lines on this graph and, use my slope formula, or we can do rise over run, okay? So if I'm going from, here, let's go from here to here, okay? Okay, so our rise from -8 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our run is going to be 1, 2. So that would be 6 over 2, which is 3. So my slope here is going to be -3 since this graph is going down. So my equation would be y equals -3x minus 8. And then I can do the same thing for here. I know that my y-intercept is going to be +3. So y-intercept is +3. And then I need to find my slope. So I just need to find 2 points. Let me use this right here. Okay. All right, so my rise from here to here is 1, 2. So my rise is 2, and my run is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 2 over 3. My rise is 2. My run is 3. So my equation for the second, it would be 2 over 3. So y equals 2 over 3x plus 3. So those are the two equations of the line, and this is the solution for it. Okay. So three main concepts you should have gotten from this is unit rate. Remember, to find a unit rate from a graph is whatever the slope is. To find a unit rate from an equation is whatever the slope is. The unit rate from the graph you can find in 3 different ways. You can find the slope of the graph, you can use y over x, and you can use whatever your y is when your x is 1. Okay? And then we also talked about the 3 different type of solution. We talked about one solution, no solution, infinite many solution. Now, when you have an equation like this, when you don't have a system of linear equation, you just have a regular equations, the way you can tell if it's one solution, no solution, infinite many solution, it's pretty much the same way. So you see how 2x plus 3 here is the same thing as 3 plus 2x. So because both of these are the same, I know that this is infinite many solution. Okay? Then I'm looking here. You see how our coefficients are the same, but these numbers are not the same. So that's the same as no solution when you have same slope or different y-intercept. So this is going to be no solution. And then this last one is going to be one solution because I can solve this. If I solve this for x, I will subtract x on both sides. I would get x, 2x minus 1x is x plus 3 equals 4. I will subtract by 3 on both sides. I will get x equals 1. So anytime you get x equals something, you know that that's one solution, and the solution here is 1. Okay? So that's it for Unit 3. Make sure you take the quiz and submit it.